We all know water covers most of the planet, about 71%, give or take, but not all water plays by the same rules. Some places are so salty that you can float without moving a muscle. Others are so clear it's like staring into a dream. And then there are lakes under the ocean. This isn't just about oceans and lakes, it's about the weird side of water. So join us for today's video as we're going to count down the 15 strangest bodies of water that exist in nature. Let's start off with number 15, Lake Berlinskoye. In Russia's Altai region, there's a lake that changes color with the season and looks like it was plucked from a dream. Lake Berlinskoye might look ordinary in winter, with grayish-blue water and salty winds. But come August, it turns flamingo pink. This isn't just a trick of the light, it's biology at work. Tiny brine shrimp and special algae thrive in the lake's super salty water, producing beta-carotene that gives the lake its surreal pink hue. It's not just beautiful, it's useful. The lake holds one of the biggest salt deposits in western Siberia. Since the 1700s, it's been a key supplier of table salt. Even Catherine the Great swore by it. A Soviet-era freight train still crosses the lake, scraping the bed to harvest thousands of tons of salt each year. The locals call it the salt shaker. Every summer, as the heat intensifies, the water turns pink, the salt train rolls through, and the lake transforms from a forgotten patch of Siberia into something that looks like another planet. Number 14, Pitch Lake. In southwest Trinidad, Pitch Lake sprawls across 100 acres like a living bruise on the land, black, bubbling, and unsettlingly quiet. At first glance it looks solid, but take a few cautious steps, and the surface pushes back, soft and rubbery underfoot. This isn't just a lake, it's the world's largest natural asphalt deposit formed over millions of years by tectonic activity. Fault lines in the Earth's crust pull oil up from deep below, and when it reaches the surface, the tropical heat strips away the lighter elements, leaving behind thick, sticky pitch. Despite centuries of commercial use, the supply hasn't run dry, because the Earth hasn't stopped bleeding. What makes this place even stranger is the life that thrives in it. Extremophile microbes, bacteria, and even fungi have adapted to break down hydrocarbons in conditions most organisms can't survive. Scientists are still studying these life forms, not just to understand their resilience, but to see what secrets they might hold for future biotech. Pitch Lake is a slow-moving beast, but it's very much alive. Number 13, Lake Rezia. Amid snow-covered peaks in northern Italy, Lake Rezia stretches wide and cold, but one thing doesn't fit. Rising from the middle of the water is a stone bell tower, the last breath of a village that no longer exists. Beneath the surface lies the flooded town of Curon, deliberately submerged in the 1950s to make way for a hydroelectric dam. More than 1,000 residents were displaced, homes were demolished, and history was buried beneath the waves. The haunting remains of the 14th century church tower still stand, quietly defiant. In winter, when the lake freezes over, visitors can walk across the ice and stand beneath it, touching the stones that once echoed with bells. Originally, the region held 2 small lakes, but the construction project unified them, flooding acres of farmland and forcing families, many German-speaking, to leave behind generations of memory. No matter how beautiful the lake looks today, it holds weight. Beneath that still water lies a story of loss, resilience, and the price of so-called progress. Number 12, Lake Nyos. Lake Nyos sits quietly in the hills of Cameroon, looking calm, innocent, and peaceful, until you hear what happened here. Locals always had stories about the lake, calling it cursed or haunted, warning of something beneath the surface. Turns out they were right. This crater lake, formed by a volcanic eruption, had been silently building up carbon dioxide for years. Normally, gas escapes slowly from lakes, but Nyos acted like a sealed bottle under pressure. On August 21, 1986, that pressure hit a breaking point. Whether triggered by a landslide or just too much rain, the lake exploded. Water shot into the sky, but the real danger wasn't visible. A massive cloud of CO poured out across nearby villages, hugging the ground and suffocating everything in its path. People dropped without a sound. Animals collapsed mid-step. Out of 800 people in one village, only 6 made it out alive. In total, 1,746 died. Afterward, the lake turned red. The air was silent, and the hills were never the same again. Number 11. The Hot Tub of Despair. Nearly 3,300 feet below the Gulf of Mexico's surface lies something with a name straight out of a horror novel, the Hot Tub of Despair. Unlike the relaxing image that name might conjure, this pool is pure death. It's a brine pool. Super salty, dense water that doesn't mix with the ocean around it. It forms a shimmering pool within the seafloor itself, about 100 feet across and 12 feet deep. The salinity here is 5 times higher than normal seawater, and the surrounding chemicals are toxic. Any sea creature that accidentally drifts in, dead within minutes. What makes it worse is the way it preserves things. Dead fish and crabs don't decay here. They settle at the bottom like specimens in a jar, eerily intact. Scientists who studied the site found preserved organisms just lying there, suspended in chemical stillness. No circulation, no oxygen, just silence and death. It's one of the ocean's most hauntingly cute discoveries. Number 10. Devil Set's Kettle. At first glance, the Brule River in Minnesota flows like any other, cutting through the woods, tumbling over rocks, headed toward Lake Superior. But then it does something rivers aren't supposed to do. It splits in two, and one half vanishes straight into a massive hole carved into solid rock. No splash, no outlet, no sign of where it goes. This strange phenomenon, called the Devil's Kettle, has confused people for years. Scientists tried everything: dye tests, floating objects, even dropping logs, but nothing ever reappeared downstream. The surrounding rock isn't soft or porous like limestone, which rules out underground caves. For the longest time, no one could figure it out. But in 2016, after comparing the volume of water entering and leaving the area, researchers realized the water never vanished. It was looping back into the river a short distance downstream, just hidden by the landscape. Even with the mystery solved, standing next to that swirling, bottomless hole still feels like staring into a glitch in reality. Number 9. Jellyfish Lake. Jellyfish Lake, tucked into the rock islands of Palau, isn't your typical snorkeling spot. Thousands of golden jellyfish pulse through its waters in silence, drifting with the sun. But here's the twist. They don't sting. Separated from the ocean for over 12,000 years, the jellyfish living here evolved in total isolation. With no predators to defend against, their stingers slowly lost their punch. The lake itself is a rare saltwater lagoon, layered like a cake. The upper layer is rich with oxygen and sunlight, perfect for the golden jellyfish and their symbiotic algae. The bottom layer, a dead zone filled with toxic hydrogen sulfide, no-go territory for humans and sea life alike. While swimming is allowed, scuba diving is banned to avoid disturbing the delicate balance. In the late 1990s, an El Niño event nearly wiped out the jellyfish population, but they made a slow comeback by 2012. What's left is a floating ballet of evolution, vulnerability, and survival in one of nature's strangest and softest ecosystems. Number 8. The Salton Sea. The Salton Sea looks like any ordinary lake on a map, but its origin is anything but natural. It was never supposed to exist, at least not like this. In the early 1900s, engineers tried to redirect water from the Colorado River to irrigate California's dry Imperial Valley. The system failed. The river broke through and flooded a low desert basin that had no outlet. Water rushed in but never flowed out, and just like that, the Salton Sea was born. It stayed, not because of rain, but because of runoff. Agricultural waste, pesticides, and chemicals from surrounding farmland. Over time, the lake turned salty. Then it turned toxic. Fish began dying off, leaving only tilapia to struggle through. Birds showed up to nest, then got sick and died too. Today, the shoreline is a wasteland of dead fish, abandoned resorts, and broken dreams. And the real danger: if the sea dries up completely, all that poison in the lakebed becomes airborne dust, toxic, windblown, and deadly to anyone nearby. Number 7. Rio Hamza. Far beneath the Amazon, there's a second river. You'll never see it, but it's there. Rio Hamza, flowing nearly 13,000 feet underground, moving so slowly it might as well be standing still. It stretches almost as far as the Amazon itself, running from the Andes to the Atlantic, hidden beneath layers of rock, clay, and pressure. Unlike the surface river, which charges forward at hundreds of feet per hour, Hamza creeps along at less than an inch per hour. The width, though, is staggering, up to 250 miles across, making it one of the widest underground flows ever recorded. Its path is shaped by a mix of porous sediment, ancient faults, and gravity, pulling it east. This isn't groundwater seeping around aimlessly. It's an organized, basin-wide flow too deep to be touched and too massive to ignore. Researchers only uncovered it recently, using heat maps and seismic data, and there's still so much they don't know. It's a silent colossus beneath the world's loudest river, hiding in plain geological sight. All right, now let's head over to number 6, Shane Tempishka. Deep in the Peruvian Amazon, there's a river so hot it boils animals alive. Locals call it Shane Tempishka, translated as boiled with the heat of the sun, but the name's a little misleading. The heat comes from underground, not the sky. The river reaches temperatures of up to 212 degrees Fahrenheit, and it runs like that for nearly 4 miles. The weirdest part: there's no active volcano for hundreds of miles. Scientists believe the boiling water comes from rain that seeps deep underground, gets superheated by Earth's geothermal energy, and resurfaces through fault lines. The indigenous Ashaninka community considers the river sacred, believing in a giant serpent spirit, Yakomama, that gave birth to both hot and cold waters. Its turquoise flow winds through a lush jungle, surrounded by ivory-colored stone and thick vegetation. The water's depth hits up to 16 feet in places, and its boiling spots are instantly lethal. You don't swim here. You stay back, respect the heat, and remember, you're just a human, so don't be Superman. Number 5. Cenote Angelita. Hidden in the dense jungle outside Tulum, Mexico, Cenote Angelita doesn't give away its secrets at the surface. It's just still, green water surrounded by trees. But beneath that calm lies something unreal. As divers descend through the sinkhole, everything changes around 90 feet down. A thick, swirling layer of white fog appears, separating the fresh water above from the salty, denser water below. It's not just a visual trick, it looks like a river running through the cenote. The fog is hydrogen sulfide trapped between the layers in a process called halocline. Beneath that ghostly layer, tree branches drift, looking like the remains of an ancient forest. The temperature changes. The water gets murkier. It feels like you're slipping into another world. Visibility disappears, sound vanishes, and the peaceful dive turns into something surreal. Divers often describe it as swimming through a dream or a nightmare. It's not a tourist trap. It's a portal into one of the strangest natural formations hidden beneath the earth. Number 4. Lake Baikal. Lake Baikal in Siberia isn't just the largest freshwater lake by volume. It's a time capsule. Estimated at 30 million years old, it holds 22% of the planet's unfrozen freshwater, reaching depths over 5,300 feet. But it's not just its age or size that makes it strange, it's what's inside. During winter, the lake freezes into a thick glassy surface, sometimes so clear you can see down more than 130 feet. That clarity comes from low nutrient levels, which keep algae growth to a minimum and preserve the lake's remarkable transparency. It's home to the Baikal seal, one of the only freshwater seals in the world, along with countless endemic species found nowhere else on Earth. In deep winter, these seals claw breathing holes through the ice, while pregnant females give birth on its frozen surface. Conservation efforts have helped keep their population steady, but Lake Baikal still faces threats from pollution and climate change. Number 3. Manicouagan Reservoir. In the wilderness of Quebec, the Manicouagan Reservoir doesn't just look unusual, it looks like something crashed there from space. And that's because one did. About 214 million years ago, a 3-mile-wide asteroid slammed into Earth, blasting out a crater nearly 62 miles across. Over time, erosion softened the edges and the crater filled with water, leaving behind a perfect circle of deep blue wrapped around a raised island. From above, it's unmistakable, an ancient scar that looks like an eye staring up through the trees. The reservoir is massive, covering 750 square miles, and feeds into Quebec's hydroelectric power system. In the center sits Mount Babel, a granite dome pushed upward by the force of the impact, now part of a protected ecological reserve. Rivers spill out from its rim, stretching like veins into the surrounding forest. What's left is part natural wonder, part geological relic, proof that cosmic violence can leave behind something eerily beautiful, and that even after 200 million years, Earth still carries the marks. Number 2. Caño Cristales. Tucked away in Colombia's Serranía de la Macarena National Park, Caño Cristales looks like someone turned the Earth into a watercolor painting. This river isn't just known for its beauty, it practically redefines it. For most of the year, it flows like any other, with mossy rocks and clear currents. But between September and November, something wild happens. As the rainy season fades and sunlight hits just right, the riverbed comes alive. A unique aquatic plant called Macarenia clavigera turns a vivid red, contrasting against patches of green moss, bright yellow sand, and crystal clear water. It's not an everyday sight, it's a seasonal masterpiece. The river stretches for about 62 miles, right where the Andes, Amazon, and Llanos ecosystems collide. Getting there isn't simple. It requires a flight, a rough ride, and often a trek on foot or horseback. Swimming is only allowed in certain areas to protect the fragile ecosystem, and sunscreen is banned for the same reason. This isn't just a beautiful river, it's a delicate and precise nature's balance. Number 1. Kawah Ijen. Kawah Ijen sits high in East Java, Indonesia, surrounded by volcanic mountains and heavy sulfur clouds. From a distance, the lake looks beautiful, bright turquoise water reflecting the sky. But up close, it's a nightmare. This is the world's most acidic lake, with pH levels so low they can melt through the skin. It formed inside a volcanic crater, constantly fed by hydrothermal vents that pump sulfur-rich gases directly into the water. When these gases rise, they react and turn the water into a toxic mix of sulfuric acid and heavy metals. At night, the crater glows with electric blue flames, ignited sulfur gas burning in the dark. It's mesmerizing and terrifying all at once. Miners trek down into the fumes daily to haul out chunks of bright yellow sulfur, wearing little protection and risking their lungs and lives. And as if the lake wasn't deadly enough, it also feeds a river called Banyu Pahit, translated as bitter water, which carries that same acidity downstream, destroying soil, plants, and anything in its path. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for hanging with us, and we'll see you very soon.